Hello everybody, John Craig here with Performance Plus Tennis. Welcome to today's video. We're going to break down the serve of emerging star Jack Draper, who just won Vienna, is going to reach a career high number 15 on the ATP Tour. And I see top 10 in his game for sure in 2025. His serve is amazing. We're going to break it down with a lot of detail today, so stick around to the end and let's get right on into it. So let's go to his serve here. And right at the beginning, let's look at his start. And you can see he's serving into the ad court, but his lineup with his feet really is way beyond perpendicular, and that really sets up for a terrific body coil, which is going to give him a lot of power. Okay, it looks really, really good here. And then look at the position of his racket. Look how the strings that are actually going to contact the ball are actually facing up. The racket's a little bit inverted. And for those of you who struggle with a waiter's tray, pancake kind of serve, start in this position. And you're going to see in this lesson how starting in this position is actually going to help you eliminate that waiter's tray position, which plagues so many players. So let's carry on here. You can see his weight is forward. He's going to shift to the back foot. We can see that his weight is on the back foot because his toe here is in the air. You can see that. And while he's tossing the ball in this phase here, while the arm is rising to release the ball, you can see he's staying steady on the back foot. Perfect position. And you can also notice here how the tossing arm is really leading and the racket arm is lagging well behind. And that's going to allow him to generate easy power later on in the movement here, which you're going to see. So let's keep going. And he's going to release the ball. Now, you can see here, and we're going to see this again later in the video too, that his shoulders are really horizontal at the phase where he's releasing the ball. And now, once he releases the ball, his shoulders angles follows the tossing arm and takes him right into that beautiful 45-degree angle that we're going to see. And the other thing that's happening here as the ball is rising is the left foot is going to come up and load in. So when the ball gets to the apex, he has stored that energy equally in both legs. And there it is. Perfect. That is an absolutely perfect trophy position. Great stretch with the right arm for him. Perfect position for the racket. Great position in the legs. You can see that his heel is a little higher on the back leg than on the front leg. That's perfect because the left hip is going to be a little bit lower. Okay, so I'm covering a lot of details here, all of which are really going to help you. So I encourage you to watch this video over and over again and start picking things out that you can work on. Okay, so we're going to carry on here, and then you're going to see as we move into it here, he's going to make his move on the ball as it begins to descend. The right arm is going to pull away, and the legs are going to drive, and we're going to see how this actually happens. But what I want to mention here, you can't quite see it on this angle, so we're going to go a little later in the serve. We're going to take a look here. Here we go, right here. This is a side view. You can see the angle of the racket is underneath here. Let's take a look at it again. The racket's underneath. There's the angle of the racket. You can see it's clearly got the strings that are going to hit the ball are actually facing up. Jack places the ball. Look where his racket is when the ball leaves his hand. This is really more common than people realize. And then he stretches that right arm up way beyond vertical. See that? Way beyond vertical, quite a few degrees beyond vertical. He's got a nice angle there, which is really stretching him back and coiling him up. But I also want you to notice here the angle of the racket. Look how the strings are actually turned in. He's actually in a supinated position here. And what happens to players that have waiter's tray is the racket is actually turned the other way, so we can actually see the strings facing the target, actually facing the camera. And then they just kind of roll backwards. But you can see he's in a perfect position that originated here. We talked about this. It originated right here. And he brings it up, and look at the position of the racket. It's beautiful. That's a beautiful position. So the racket never really opens up in the racket drop. So if you're struggling with your waiter's tray, really try to get yourself in this type of a position. Next up, he's ready to make his move on the ball. We can see that. He's got this good, strong angle. And he's also got this 45-degree angles in his shoulders. The elbow's in beautiful position. Here he goes. Wants the right arm. He's a lefty, so his right arm's going to pull away as the legs push. And watch how the shoulders begin to rotate and the racket falls as a natural consequence. Look at that beautiful movement. Look at that beautiful movement again. We're going to take a look at it right there. The sequencing of movement here is beautiful. He pulls the right hand away as the racket's falling. The racket's falling because the body's moving and rotating and the legs are driving. And then when he gets to the bottom, and this is another key thing, is that this is the racket drop at its lowest point. Look how his right arm is actually matching the tip of the racket. So for those of you who think you need to keep your tossing arm up, it's usually not the right concept. You want to get it up there nice and strong, but you want to pull it away as a pulley to create this shoulder over shoulder action that we see that Jack has here. That's so good. Look at that shoulder over shoulder rotation. And the racket's lagging behind his shoulder. Look how his left shoulder is rising as the racket's falling. That's what creates that tremendous lag that allows the swing to catch up and have a lot of power coming into contact. It's beautiful. Very, very nice. Okay, so let's keep going here, and we will look at a few other things as we go along here from a couple of different angles. Here's another angle that's really helpful for you. Look at the strings again, pointing up. Look at that. Okay, got the wrong marker there. They're pointing straight up here. Look at that. And he leads with the right. Now he makes his weight shift as the ball's rising. By the time the ball gets to the apex, we can see it there. He's loaded in beautifully. He's got a beautiful loaded, coiled, balanced position. The racket is in a slightly supinated position. That's going to keep him from having any chance of a weight astray, and that racket's just going to fall right into his back as he makes his move. And look how the right hand pulls away first in that beautiful semicircle and tucks, and then the racket catches up. Look how the racket actually catches up to the right hand. Look how it catches up to it right there, and they meet at the bottom right there. That's perfect shoulder rotation and swing timing. Just perfect. Okay? Looking really good. As he comes into contact, the right hand is holding, and he's got a beautiful extension on contact. That's really outstanding. The angle of the body's excellent. Everything is beautifully timed. Perfect, perfect position. Looking really, really good. And you can see here also that the racket is coming up on edge. It's attacking the ball like a machete, like it's going to cut the ball right in half, even this close to the ball. And then it turns quickly to the ball, and then it turns over. And now you can see the strings are now facing off to the left for him. Being a left-hander, the strings are facing off to the left. So he gets outstanding pronation into and through the ball as well. A couple of key things we really need to work on. Okay, so let's take a look here again. And I'm going to let this play at a normal speed and just watch this. Okay, let's watch it again. And what I love about Jack's serve is the tempo. Okay, I love the fact that he's able to place the ball beautifully. And right here, it almost looks like he's in slow motion. If we look at this at regular speed, he places the ball, and he's not quick with his left hand until he's coming up to the ball. Everything is slow all the way through this stage. Slow, 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 and then explode. Okay? So it's really important to get great tempo because that's what allows you to time the serve so well. So look how slow it is. Slow, quick. And he goes again, slow, quick. Slow, quick. And that's how you time serves. We don't want to swing fast. We want to swing quick with a slow, quick, slow tempo. And that will really help you quite a bit. Let's take a look here. A couple other things I really want you to look at. Look how his head is out of the way. It's looking up the right arm. His head is leaning off. You can see it here. It's leaning off to the right so that he can get that shoulder over shoulder action. Look at that beautiful shoulder over shoulder action. Very, very nice. Gorgeous. Beautiful. Now, wrist snap. Does he snap his wrist? Let's take a look and see if Jack actually indeed snaps his wrist because he's got a beautiful loose motion. What I would say is that at this stage right here, his wrist has to extend upward. Otherwise, the racket would never get to the ball. But as he comes through, look how the wrist is still holding. Look how it's still straight. It's only here where he begins to slow down that the wrist sort of takes that energy and has a bend in it, but the ball's already gone. So there's no real attempt here to snap the wrist other than to be loose and let the wrist just play through the motion and extend up naturally. The intention to actually snap your wrist is detrimental to the serve. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple more here. I just want to have you play through a few here, and we're just going to watch him serve. Slow, quick, slow. Okay, this is a beautiful point. So easy for him. Slow, quick, slow. I love his tempo. And the other thing I want to look at here, and we talk about ball toss height, and I'm going to try to get to a video here where we can take a look. Yeah, let's get right here. Let's take a look and see his toss. He's at the apex right there. Okay, right there. Maybe a little bit above that. Right there. Good. So we're going to mark that right now, okay? And we're going to I'm going to do a better job of marking that. There we go. And then we're going to go to contact. And we're going to look at that contact and look at how much ball drop there is. Now, you can see that the distance between his hand and the end of the racket, or to contact, I should say, and the distance from the contact point to the apex of the toss is not that different. So I'd be willing to bet that his toss is dropping 24 inches to contact. Now, when you watch it, it looks like it's nothing. It looks like it's happened so fast that it looks like it hardly drops at all. You know that? But the reality is it's dropping about 24 inches. Okay, so if you're trying to hit the ball at the apex, it's pretty complicated. Look at that one right there. Look at that one. Look how that ball's floating. It looks like it's sitting up there for him, just sitting there waiting for him to attack it. And that's the feeling you want to have, because when you're at this stage in the serve, you're calibrating and you're coordinating and you're setting up the balance. You're setting up the coordination. You're setting up the sequencing so you can attack that ball with total confidence. So I'm not a big advocate of having a low toss because you're committed to having to swing before you even know what the ball's doing. So really, I think this is a beautiful model of a serve that most recreational players can achieve and should be working on. The fundamentals inside this serve are just absolutely fantastic. So real quick review. Make sure you've got an outstanding, excellent start. Weight slightly forward. Shift your weight back. Try to have the racket strings facing up, inverted, rather than the traditional way we typically think the strings should be facing more the target line. Don't do that. Have those strings face up, as we see here with Jack. Shift your weight to the back foot. Don't move until the ball's out of your hand, and then you can load in, whether you're a pinpointer or you're a platform server. Let the ball out of your hand and then load into your legs. So when the ball gets to the apex, you're sitting there in your trophy position, balanced and ready to take it, just as we see here. Very, very important. Lead with the right arm if you're a lefty, and lead with your left arm if you're a righty, as we can see here. Lead with that left arm, with that tossing arm. Let the racket lag behind and see what that feels like. Let the ball go, and then once the ball leaves your hand, now let your shoulders, and we can see this here, shoulders are pretty horizontal. Now your shoulders will follow the arm. Look at that. And so it's a very coordinated unit of movement that takes you into your trophy position. And that sets up for a lot of coordination and power coming back to the ball. So that's a very important phase. And then you can see here, there's another thing I haven't covered yet really, is that in his trophy position, look how the racket is really on the left side of his body. It's really over here. His elbow's still well behind him. The racket's on his left side because he's a left-handed player. Most players by now, and amateur players, tend to have the racket over on this side. Leave it over on your right side if you're a righty and on your left side if you're a lefty. And then go in. What's going to cause the racket to fall and rise naturally and take this beautiful movement, we're going to see it go here and go up, is the right arm is going to pull away while the legs push up. Watch. And the racket falls and rises by itself. And look at that. Look, it's going to cut it right in half and then turns right over. Beautiful pronation. Look at that beautiful pronation. So these are the key elements that you really want to build into your serve. What an amazing player we have here. I think he's going to be a top 10 player in 2025, and he could be a top 5 player. He's got tremendous power. He's 6'4", lefty, only 22 years old. Could be a real contender for a top position here, top 5 position in the years to come. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Leave your comments down below. Subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already, and give us a like and share this video with a friend. And thanks again for watching today's lesson. We've got a lot more coming here at Performance Plus Tennis. Stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next lesson.